Ladies and gentlemen, we are back in action after that pistol round that Sparta claimed victory of over CyberShoke. Yuba and I are on the mic to bring you guys this match as we wait for every player to reconnect and get back into the server. Since our observers, how are we feeling now, Yuba? I mean, we haven't seen the pistol. We don't know what happened, but we know that Sparta ended up taking it.
Yeah, this is gonna be interesting. Of course, Sparta taking the pistol round, it might actually give us a little bit more of an interesting matchup. As before we had to go on this a bit of an extended break, we mentioned that CyberShoke is the favorite coming into this one, and of course, one round shouldn't make all the difference, but it might nudge the side of Sparta to the right side. We can actually see Fenneman checking things out on in his inventory while he's waiting for us to get underway. I'm feeling great. I'm feeling good. I just can't wait to get back into things, or rather to get into things, given the fact that we missed the pistol round, basically didn't get Counter-Strike for an entire half an hour. And of course, this match should have begun 30 minutes ago, Pronogo.
It is true. It is true. Power troubles can be like that. And what we're hoping for now is that everybody's powered on and ready to go, switched on and into gear. Looks like we're waiting on alpha. We don't have live feeds for a pair of players, one on each team, so no idea about them. But headphones look like they might be going on, so yeah, we're waiting on Dijon as well. By the way, we were talking a little bit earlier about Sparta's naming conventions. We got Dijon, I guess, for like the mustard, right? We got Confuse, okay, all right. And then Solby and Uramiata. I think, their names are a little bit, maybe unorthodox, but what matters is that they're going to get the job done, or at least they did on the pistol round.
I think that it's John 8, but...
Well, what's the D for? Is it silent?
Well, yeah, I assume there's something like that. At least from the casts I previously heard. The thing with the tier 2 players sometimes is you have no idea how to pronounce them, and maybe like in 5 years they come out and say, well, yeah, actually my name is pronounced Dijon. Right?
Okay, all right. So I'm gonna say mustard, pretty much. Dijon puts the mustard on the hot dog if he gets a hype cast. I think we know what's up with that. But if he wants to correct me, he won't. He doesn't know who I am. That's fine. But if somebody wants to correct me, that's all well and good. You guys know I don't read chat, so good luck. But somebody will tell me, I'm sure.
I check out the chat from time to time, so maybe somebody can tell us if they know better, right. Of course. All right, we're getting into things finally, as Sparta had won the pistol round out of stream, but now that we're back online, we can continue with the action at CyberShoke on the pistols. They're only going to have that one Tech 9 in the hands of Alpha, and of course, we're going to see what he can do. He has Kevlar as well, so should he get his hands on a rifle, that still might pose a threat to the side of Sparta. He's going to lose a lot of HP to that basic utility thrown by the side of Sparta, so it's going to be a very difficult round for Alpha, and should he die, it's going to be very simple, a cleanup for the side of Sparta. Invisible had seen a few players. He's going to pull back. He doesn't want to risk it, but little does he know they really pose no threat, as he is going to find that first frag and racking up the cash, only finding 2 kills. And there you go, CyberShoke with an MP9 in hand.
Yeah, and Fenneman upgraded over to that Tech 9 dropped by Alpha. No Kevlar on the remaining players, as he called out, rightfully so. Bomb was spotted on the back of Blixie, so we got to see whether CyberShoke are going to be able to navigate towards a bomb plant here. It would be per type if they could. Good for their economy. Get them flush with cash. Smoke towards one side, but Blixie dodging bullets round the corner is going to get the bomb plant off after all. HE chunks him down quite low, but this looks doable, at least in terms of getting it expensive. Remember, there's 3 rifles invested into this round, but Solby's found one through the smoke. It makes it a lot harder for him now. Get him at glowing, but no. Not going to happen. Confused takes his head with that SMG and racks up another through the smoke. We are rocking and a rolling here for Sparta. They keep all 4 remaining members alive and make it as inexpensive as possible.
Yeah, at the end of the day, losing 1 MP9 is no big deal for Sparta's CT side economy. They're going to buy an M4 on Invisible. So it's going to be a very good buy for them. Given the bomb plant, CYBERSHOKE are going to have a little bit more cash to splash with 5 AKs, almost full utility on their side. So this could be their first round in this best of 3. Of course, it is an elimination match. Both of these teams, if they want to go to the playoffs, they got to chain together 3 best of 3 victories. And it begins now. One of these 2 teams will be eliminated today. Some damage dealt to Alpha, not too much, as CYBERSHOKE tried to take mid control. That smoke didn't land where they wanted to, and there you go. Yuramyata starts things off through the smoke. Naughty loses his head, and it's a +1 for the side of Sparta.
Hey, add to that, Dijon dressing it up nicely here, taking glowing out of the picture. Oh, and you thought maybe for a second there'd be another smoke kill and turning the TD'd. Oh, but out, basically just raw contact. Blixie takes out Solby, a little bit of revenge for what happened through the smoke in the second round of play. Yuramyata's repositioned from Red Room already towards back quad, and he's got reinforcements where that came from. There's another frag for him and Dijon apiece. It's going to end up being the full house. It's going to have to be Dijon if that's going to be the way things roll, because Yuramyata's lost his head already. Fenneman fragging, he's in a 1-on-4 and turned it into a 1-on-3, and then just 2 remaining survivors before Confuse sets right the chaos. We are on to a 3-0 streak. That was a little bit more expensive than Sparta wanted it to be, but they have built up more than enough cash. We actually should see the AWP brought out now for round 4.
Yeah, why not? When you got enough cash to use, why not get the AWP, the big green? It seems that it will not be in play. Fenneman made it a bit of an expensive round for Sparta, but at the end, no harm done, given that Sparta is the one with the big guns, and CYBERSHOKE only fielding that hero AK for Tech 9s, and a lot of damage dealt to Alpha again with that utility. Ooh, more utility damage as that nades falls on Fenneman's head. Invisible finds the frag, gets traded back, but there you go. Solby with the frag back, and there's so much damage dealt to CYBERSHOKE already. Blixie will grab a rifle, but what can you do with that, my friend, where your friends are in a situation where a few bullets and they're dead? Naughty only 1 necessary to bring him down.
Does feel like right about now we're getting into that squeaky bum time for the T side of CYBERSHOKE. We've obviously seen Counter-Strike 2 switch into a bit more of a CT favored meta. This is a kind of spot where you don't want to be. You don't want to be down 4-0. I know forced by territory in this round, not quite able to force their staking of the claim on the B site yet. Still haven't really pressured A that much either, it has to be said, but there's time left in the half. CYBERSHOKE might have to just take the hard way out. Now, they do have a clear line of sight on a bomb plant. Just jumping over the bullets, getting it planted safe, trying to bait out that utility. That's been the bane of their existence in the early stages of the rounds, but actually there were no nades to be thrown on the location. Confuse is rotated over, or is starting to, with the utility belt, and Yuramyata's found the kill that I think is going to seal the deal here. Blixie taken out. There's low HP on Alpha and Naughty, but Naughty.
Oh, there you go.
And that's a bit of a lineup for the Tech 9. All of a sudden, this switches into a 1-on-2 for Confuse with an A that could take out both players, stacked towards quad. Now he's going to figure it out. Where are they? It doesn't matter. Alpha has figured it out as well with a headshot between the eyes.
How have they done this? So little HP on the last 2 players, especially with Blixie dying. It said the deal is sealed. Easy round for Sparta. But CYBERSHOKE boys, they say no as they clinch that round 2v4. And that is a tilter. A little bit. You know that you've dealt at least some damage. You know that you were in a very good situation to retake the site again. And Sparta, they'll be asking themselves, how did that happen? Again, also be thinking, should they commit more players to defending the site instead of retaking it in the future rounds? This was an important one for CYBERSHOKE, and there we go. Yuramyata on that big green, but he's going to have a lot of work to do. First frag found, glowing, takes the space on mid. And a lot of T default smokes have been thrown in the past few months. The T side uses as many as 3 smokes at the beginning of the round, just to take control of mid without losing a player. It didn't help CYBERSHOKE in this one now, did it?
It did not. No, they still had backs turned to an op angle that isn't so common as a starter for the first time that you see the big green out. Definitely one of those that you are should be expecting or should be, checking off the board. You haven't seen the sniper yet. Need to flush out, figure out where they are. Now, Visible's got a bit of an off angle. Not Necky, going to clear it nice. Oh, clear it tight, but doesn't get the frag. A little bit labored and delayed on the spray. Invisible, you can't say that about him. Able to take down 2 in cave. Solby also ready to hold down the main position, and Yada's found a second pick. This round has fizzled out for CYBERSHOKE. Invisible will finish us off, and we are looking at a 4-1 start. Looks like that last round, Luba, just a little bit of a hiccup. And I want to point out there's not a lot of bomb plants for CYBERSHOKE. Their money is in the bin again.
Oh, yeah. They're going to have just one rifle again. I mean, if it works, there's no reason to fix it. But this time, the rifle is in Notineki's hands. We'll see what he can do with that. His teammates having that one Tech 9 and Mac 10, hoping to find some damage on close distances. Sparta, they won't be making the same mistakes again. At least that's not to be expected. That's smart from Blixie. Fire off a few rounds from that Glock just so they think that it's a very shoddy buy in the hands of the T's. Now they might not expect some better weaponry, and there you go. Notineki starting things out quite well. Invisible, good on the trade. It's a 4v4. Now they break open that side. Invisible is in a pickle. He can't get out of this one. He needs to take somebody with him, but that's not going to happen. And CYBERSHOKE, a man advantage. They grab an AK as well. The bomb will get planted, and will Sparta commit? Now they should, but Confuse only good for one. And his teammates lagging behind. As they can't get close to that bomb site B, they might have to save.
Yeah, that smoke should seal the deal. There's absolutely no reason to stick around here unless you're going for exits, trying to lock them in. But of course, the T's can fall back to the swamp. And it all came down to Invisible retreating to a very committed angle and going home empty-handed. In fact, worse than that, delivering a rifle right into the hands of CYBERSHOKE. They were happy to lap that up and even further lock down their position onto that B bomb site. Easy second round for them. It looks way better than it has any right to, considering that, again, like you pointed out, they only had one rifle. But you can't think, oh, I heard Glocks, they're ecoing. They're showing you very early on into their T side of Ancient. You got to be very judicious, very, very granular in your detail-oriented hunting here. CYBERSHOKE are being tricky at the extremities. And we finally do get a bomb plant, even a detonation to boot. That should give them a little bit more money in the back end of it, and Fenneman has the big green. We are going to get a bit of a contest between him and Yada. Tech pause now for CYBERSHOKE to talk over their T-side plan, but they've already made their buy. So let's see what's cooking in round number 7.
All right, we're going to find out. Of course, that tack pause, maybe it's CYBERSHOKE just trying to consolidate and say, all right, we can't continue trying to win rounds with only one gun. This full buy round needs to go their way for confidence, if nothing else, and also to make it just a one-round game. It will be an easy conversion, seemingly, for CYBERSHOKE should they take this one, and a good way for them to tie up the scoreline at the beginning, given that the first couple of rounds really didn't look too well for them. Even that first full buy was very lackluster in that round number 5 as well. Now they need to show their mettle. And we'll see if they can do just that. As you mentioned, both teams fielding an AWP, and that's a lot of damage dealt to Glowing and Notineki. About 100 points of health taken in just a matter of a second.
It's kind of wild. I mean, they're making Ancient look like an Inferno towards that banana. The Sparta are not allowing them to walk in without getting a little bit of fragmentation in their shins. Walking wounded now, 2 members of CYBERSHOKE, but that doesn't stop them from posing quite a significant threat to this B-bomb site. Though once again, they have abandoned the A site. It's just down to Sparta and their defenders elsewhere to put the pieces together that nobody is coming. Nobody is home. Fenneman cracks an op shot off towards that B site. Doesn't find any impact, but it will certainly put a little bit of fear in the side of Sparta. Will they rotate Yada somewhere else? He's actually really digging into cave, and with Invisible falling towards B main, it's going to make matters a lot trickier. That was off of a push. That was an info play, and still nobody's rotated off of A. Nobody's looking for anything further. They need confirmation of that, but they're hearing multiple AKs. One of them's already found a frag. An A4 cracks off. They should know now, and they're still not moving. Okay, Luba, only now is Dijon coming over. We're going to need to see a very fancy hot dog here if they want to retake this position. Otherwise, this might just be a 4-man save.
Yeah, they're going to concede. No chance of retaking the side. They still have utility to use, but when you're 1 man down and you have no idea how much damage you dealt, all of the damage that Sparta had dealt so far was unconfirmed. So in their heads, CYBERSHOKE, 100 HP on each and every one of their players, site taken, a man in an advantage, and they just have to pull back and say what they got. Is going to be number 3 for CYBERSHOKE, though my story at the beginning of the round won't really come to fruition, as Sparta will have a very decent buy in the next round as well.
Yeah, they will, but it is a little bit of an awkward position to be in. I don't know what the call was for those defenders on A. If you lose a man pushing on B, I know it can be heartbreaking to then push on A and get domed again, and now suddenly you're in a 5 versus 3 situation where you are on the 3 end of that. It's not going to work out very well, but you need to make a decision about where your players are going to be allocated, especially you hear an op and then an AK frags, then you're starting to get spammed through the wall and you hear an A4 shot. It was after 4 confirmed members were presented just based on sound cues and frags towards Sparta that they decided to start rotating. And that's way too late. At that point, it's over. And they just have to awkwardly slink back to home base with their tail between their legs. This time around, once again, finding a little bit of that eco damage, that HP damage with the HE grenade. Blixie knocked down to half HP. Dijon could be called upon here in a big way to start spraying down. Let's see how Donut goes.
Oh, yeah, there you go. A double and confused lending a helping hand. It's Blixie trying to make things work, and he's going to do just that. There you go, in a blink of an eye. There's just 1 man separating these 2 teams now. We'll see if somebody can make the play on the CYBERSHOKE side, but so many CTs in different positions. This is a very tough riddle to solve for the remaining CYBERSHOKE players. They need the next frag. They need it desperately, but they have a bit less than a minute to do it, so more than enough time to try and pick up the pieces of this round.
Picking up the pieces is exactly what they need to do, but it's a little bit of a jigsaw puzzle, and they're not sure they have all the corners. Blixie and Alpha now starting to make a little bit of noise. 40 seconds on the clock as they put the bomb down, confirming that Invisible with that FAMAS can rotate over towards Donut, maybe grab an upgrade in the process, but needs to keep his head on a swivel. Uramiata still has the op and is posted up in CT spawn. They are going for this. Make mistake, they are just watching out for a flank. Confirmation yet. As Invisible moves forward, that's going to send the other 2 defenders down the CT alleyway. They might be able to catch at least 1 defender here. Smokes are going to be deployed. This is very difficult. Invisible is the flank, and he's gone. Uramiata, with an HE, and somehow not blinded and not caught off guard by that A4 spray. He just 1-2 pushes, dunks him, and the defuse comes in. Wow. All right. Wasn't expecting that one.
That was clean looking from Uramiata. That looked very, very well, and they extend their lead, not letting CYBERSHOKE tie up the scoreline, at least not just yet. Not out of the woods yet is Sparta, as they want to chain together a few more rounds and make this a comfortable lead, but they're starting off relatively well on Ancient so far. A few hiccups, as you've mentioned, but other than that, their gameplay looked pretty solid. And I want to see that Uramiata flick on a replay, because at least from my perspective, it looked very fast, quick enough to get that final frag of the round. And now it's CYBERSHOKE on the back foot yet again. Of course, their buy looking quite strong, fielding that AWP in the hands of Fenomen as well. And you got John in Ret Room, waiting for his time to shine, waiting for a contact to be made. Fenomen holding, and his patience might pay off. The timing didn't really work out. A 1-for-1 trade on mid. What do you do if you're the CTs now? You're cut off from mid. You don't want to take control of that, but you're very close to fighting. 2 players in cave, 1 in donut. And it seems like Sparta still want this round to be a very messy one. CYBERSHOKE, though, their line is spread thin. 2 players slinking on that B-bomb side. Blixie, he's going to get seen, and Alpha needs to come into play, but only finds 1. And now it's very complicated as Notineki dies as well. It's all in the hands of Fenomen 1v3. He has a lot of room to work with, but can he actually work this round out? The CTs, at least, are spread thin, and he does have those 1v1 duels, just misses the timing and misses it again. And with 20 seconds on the clock, he knows that this round is lost.
He's got a save here. I mean, the repeak from Confuse was a little daring, but I mean, even Fenneman wasn't predicting that one. I will point out here that Fenneman had a lot of information as to where everybody was, thanks to everybody's, death cams, basically. But, well, he is going to be able to flick on a Confuse and save the op, which is a little bit of a consolation prize. And remember that this is all money management the longer this half goes on. But we are in the dying embers. Moving on around number 10. Only 3 rounds remain to be played before we switch halves. And it's an opportunity for Sparta to win the half, confirm the victory that it seems like they're going for here in this first half of play. Also, an opportunity for CYBERSHOKE to, once again, reallocate where they're going. I thought their plan to contact up B was actually a pretty smart one because they weren't going to telegraph their position, but they did fail to clear out the cave angles. They had no presence short. It's one of those things that does make you look a little bit silly, and then Alpha, it would have been a tough ask to get him to spray transfer onto 2, maybe even 3 players since there were so many defenders there as soon as the jig was up. Now we're going to be in a different situation, though. Going to be a 2-man push down that B lane, courtesy of Sparta. Oh, boosted up on top of the box, and Uramiata has found an op kill onto the other opper. Whoa, knife out! Alpha totally making a mistake there, and not Neki drops the bomb inside the doors. Glowing has resurfaced with that AWP of Fenneman, but ain't nothing he can do in a 1-on-4. Let me tell you, secondary sniper not going to be moonlighting as a simple-esque performance here. We are going to be seeing a very different beast, and that beast is apparently Spartan.
Oh, yeah. Sparta confirm a lead at the half. And Glowing, not really anything he can do here.
No.
Very unfortunate set of circumstances for CYBERSHOKE, but great proactive play for Sparta. We got to mention that initial op kill maybe tilted the balance of power on the round, then you make a boost on the boxes, get the next kill, and even though that player was traded, even though Invisible died, that was completely inconsequential when Sparta made that charge, made that push, and didn't really let CYBERSHOKE for a minute there at least breathe a sigh of relief and think, all right, we might actually survive that initial onslaught. And it's only Glowing trying to save that up, and that's under the question there as well. Should they spot him, that might be also one of those situations where they just wait out the clock. Not going to be the case. He's going to die, and it's going to be number 7 for Sparta.
Yeah, nice and easy there. As Glowing falls, not even the op will be saved. Maybe some shade thrown to him for choosing that position of all places to save, by the way, but didn't know where all the CTs were. Perhaps paranoid about an A lurk out, as push from the A side defender. One thing to note, that play from Sparta was a little bit overdetermined, actually. The concept of it being so good that even if you take away some of the good things, it's still a good choice. That's exactly what it was for Sparta there, because obviously Fenneman could have maybe won out on the off goal. We didn't see how that really took shape. But the fact that he didn't doesn't matter that much, because even if Fenneman did take that kill, you still have such a massive lead with the invisible trade that you're going to come up ahead in terms of map control and pace. You know where the bomb is, all that stuff. And now Uramiata able to take Blixie out through the giveaway. And we are going to be seeing another man advantage from that. This is just a deco round, basically. There's a P250 on Fenneman, but everybody else with a hand cannon trying to find a little bit of frag. No armor present. And we will be seeing that 8th round. CYBERSHOKE just looking for some damage here. I talked earlier about how 8-4 halves are somewhat constant when it comes to maps like Train. You need that as your benchmark, your minimum. It is a little bit unorthodox to see it that high on Ancient. It's not unheard of, but it does mean that one team is clearly performing better. This is not an expected result per se. And now with the pistols being sighted towards the A side, this is actually the only time CYBERSHOKE have really heavily committed towards A, by the way. The other times are sort of mid-round rotates, but of course, do it on the pistol round, never with a rifle in hand. That's an 8th round for Sparta.
Oh yeah, and Sparta making it work quite well. You mentioned that 9-3 half is definitely an option for them. That will be a very good buy in the hands of CYBERSHOKE, but how will they use it? I mean, when we check out the statistics, none of their players are really popping off. Nobody seems to be feeling it. Of course, maybe that extended technical break we had at the beginning of the map might be playing a part, as sometimes the players just cool down after such a long break. It was about half an hour that it took for us to start the game, so That might be one of the contributing factors, at least. Initial nade exchange didn't really deal a lot of damage to each side, so there will be some mid-control there for the side of CYBERSHOKE. A 1-for-1 trade towards B will force a rotate of John A. Let's see what's next for CYBERSHOKE. Oh, that's a double dink to Fenomen, somehow surviving on 6 HP. And what do you do if you're him? You're looking for headshot angles. You're looking to use that utility as much as you can. And they're going to wait their sweet time for this smoke to fade. A player towards Red Room. That will force a rotate. Only one player defending the site, and he's slinking back as well. This might be an open invitation for CYBERSHOKE to plant the bomb, at least finding something in this round. There you go. You get that op kill and an AK working out for you, and you have round number 4 at the halftime mark. Unless confusing Uramiata can make some magic happen.
And it would be magical. It would have to be magical. Uramiata starts his wand going, but Confuse is fallen, and that is going to finish the deal. Try to make a little bit of a fallback sound and shift walk further forward, likely going to be facing the smoke, but now he's throwing utility through it. So AK in hand, he will be able to take out Notineki thanks to that smoke break, but he's up against a 1-on-2 with Fenomen. The recovered AWP lining up the shot. Nice and easy for a 4th round, but that is only a 4th round, and this is CYBERSHOKE's map pick. So their CT side had better put on a clinic. First, we'll be going to our giveaway center to see who's going to get lucky today and just how lucky they're going to be. Sometimes I see those anime skins and I think, damn, he's actually counter lucky. He's unlucky.
What are you referring to? The Dragon Snore?
No, this, what is it? Sakaku Mac 10.
Oh yeah. It's the default skin you get in these giveaways. Not going to be the case though. Congratulations to a name that I will not even try to pronounce, as you win an M4A1S Night Terror. Enjoy your skin. It's a pretty good looking one, and well, who knows? Maybe it's going to beef up your inventory a little bit.
Bessone Hog Butcher. You talk it in an Italian accent for it.
Why? Are there Italians playing Counter-Strike?
Not really, but they might watch. I'm like ethnically Italian, just I'm in America, so you know, soccer and all that.
Yeah, that doesn't count.
No.
If you're calling it soccer, my friend, Italy has left your DNA a long time ago.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Yeah, but I do. I really like when Richard Lewis goes soccer, the same way that he goes Falcons. You know, like he really emphasizes certain things to make fun of American pronunciations. It's pretty good. Yeah.
All right, it seems like we're gonna have a tech pause here again. Hopefully, it won't be as long as the previous one, and we'll get things going quite quickly. And one thing to note, Uramiata has died 3 times in the first half. That's really not something you see every day. With 14 kills to his name, it's not like he didn't have his hands full. It seems like he has been hitting his shots quite consistently so far.
Yeah, and making tactical saves that weren't inspiring criticism. It was actually the right move. So perhaps a little bit more of a proper Jame time than actual Jame. Not something where you say it with a sigh, but actually you say it with some excitement. He's able to minimize his death. He's going to have a nice HLTV rating, that's for sure. We'll point out the reason for our tech pause is Glowing had a bathroom break. At least that's what I can surmise by him going, pause, guys, and then taking his headset off and running away. So I was that, or he's got to get the door for the delivery. It's one of the two.
Well, sometimes you need to make a little bit of a break for yourself. Speaking of HLTV ratings and statistics and whatnot, did you watch the Blast final?
Oh, you're talking about the Hong Kong one?
Oh yeah.
Was there some? I did not check the ratings. So did I miss something?
This is the most ridiculous rating. I need to mention it on cast, even though it has nothing to do with this match. Yakindar in the final in Nuke. On the T side of Nuke, he had a 4.06 rating with a 30% swing. That's a 1v9 performance.
Correct. And I'm
I
guessing
just
it
need to
wasn't actually a
need to
1v9.
mention that because I find it mind-boggling. I've never
Yeah.
seen that happen since I started watching Counter-Strike, and that was a long time ago.
Wow. Well, hey, that's pretty impressive. Can't throw too much shade on it, but I do think that this new rating system that they've come up with on HLTV is starting off some pretty interesting, positive sort of conversations. Right? It feels like you can't just point at a number anymore and say number big
Yeah.
equal good, because you actually need to say like, hey, by the way, there's some more going on here. There's some more stuff happening here. And so there's nuance to it, which, that is going to make conversations take a little bit longer. You do need to explain your points and your perspectives a bit more, but I think that's just better. That's a better Counter-Strike citizen right there, is one who can explain why he thinks what his perspective on the rating is and who he thinks is best. The people who are just like, nah, you can't have that conversation. It's obvious, or just look at the number, forehead. Like, all right, buddy, go back to the kids' table. Adults are talking.
Go back to the yeah. It does. I mean, the thing is, I think that a lot of people that follow Counter-Strike have figured out that you can't really point to one number and say this player is obviously better than the other one. I know that a couple of years back, people have been looking at that HLTV rating like it's the only definitive proof that a player is better than some other player. It's like a difference of 0.02, and he's like, all right, we know that who the better player is between these two guys without any other context added. I think that those days are far behind us. At least that's my perspective and what I've gathered from the community in the past I can say past few years.
There you go. Well, with any luck, that you're right, and it's a trend that we're going to be noticing. Right about now, what we're noticing is the start of our second half. We are getting into the pistol round number 2. This one will be on camera, of course. We love that. And we do have a bit of an interesting setup here where it's mostly Kevlar, one flash on Alpha, and Glowing has been raid bossed up with the dualies. On the other side, it's just a smoke or two and 2 mollies, as well as a decoy. Some players just can't help themselves. All Glocks all the time, 3 sets of Kevlar. Let's see what Sparta have in store on the T side. They lead nicely, but that can disappear in an instant.
All right, let's see if it does. One molly used. There is still one more molly for the T's to use, so this is going to be a lot of trouble for Blixie. They've been outplayed. 2 defenders left on that side, and they got to make some magic happen. These glowing dualies got to glow, and he's missing his shots. Finding one, not enough. 4v3 and Alpha low. They've got a foothold to the side, but already a chance here for CYBERSHOKE as they bring that one frag back. 3v3. Now they want to enter the side, but it's still not going to be the easiest job, though. Confused, he's getting fired at from all the angles possible. The bomb has been planted for a long time now, but more than enough time left for the defuse to happen. Now it's only Yuramyata trying to make things work, and as great as he's been in the first half, that's not going to happen, and CYBERSHOKE saving themselves in the pistol.
Yeah, take that, Yuramyata. You have, checks notes, 4 deaths. Pretty good pistol round all around, though. I will say, the fact that Sparta have given it a good go, they had the mollies to clear out cave and the default plant spot, makes CYBERSHOKE sweat a little bit, but Alpha did the right thing by falling back. I actually kind of wished Glowing had done that as well, since it feels like maybe not a great amount of opportunity for team play there, like Alpha falling back, but Glowing standing his ground, and then there's 4 T's facing him at the same time. Not great, but they knew that the retake could be played. They had the man advantage taken back when Solb was taken out, courtesy of Not Neki. So we're happy to see that. And yeah,
a T-sided scout on Ancient in the hands of Yuramyata. I mean, I might be completely in the wrong here, but at least from my perspective and what I've seen so far, the only 2 maps you consistently see the scout on are Nuke and Dust 2, because you have obvious positions or where you can use them. And it's usually on the CT side, of course. A T-side scout means that Yuramyata is feeling really freaking good. We'll see if that scout can actually come into play. A lot of damage to be dealt with that scope weapon, especially in a potential aim duel against Fenomen. Not going to happen yet, as Fenomen has been smoked off, but there you go, Glowing down to 30 points of health at the start of the round.
Yeah, you're just not expecting that, weapon. You're pointing it out is exactly a reflection of that, but Glowing taking a tag is going to set this up for the force buy. Remember, there was indeed a bomb plant. Now, I love that Uramiata was actually feeding himself up. Didn't expect an op there in round number 2 of the half. Venomant going to be falling back in that respect and trying to spam through with just the USP. This is a push towards the back of B. Remember, there's a flank coming in as well from... Oh, Dijon is kind of fluffing it. Sold is also doing the same, and that flank was supposed to be a little bit more impactful, but all he had to his hands was a MAC-10. Still enough for a drive-by. Might even be able to follow up onto Glowing, and Fenomen is low. This is actually suddenly very doable, but he's got the bomb in his hand, and Notineki says, no way. But that was a much closer affair than we thought it would be.
Oh yeah, especially that all of these Red Room players fall, and it's only Solby trying to salvage something, missing a heck of a lot of shots at the beginning, but hitting his shots in the end. Had he had more time, there was a point to be made that he should just have run at the Opera and try to take him out. I think they knew that he was at least half HP, if not low HP, so it could have been a completely different story if he had like 20 more seconds to work with, but coulda, woulda, shoulda. It's CYBERSHOKE on 6, and it's only a 2-round game now. Sparta's lead not looking so decisive. And an MP7 in the hands of Notineki. Is it a day for weird guns? That might be the case, though I think I've seen Notineki using this SMG in a couple of previous occasions. Now it's going to be an A push, courtesy of Sparta. Let's see what Fenomen has got with that op. Hits the first shot, wants to re-peek, and there you go. A quick double coming from the opper of CYBERSHOKE as his teammates are cleaning things up. And it's only one player left. This should be a very decisive round for CYBERSHOKE. Not losing a single player thus far. That'll do a lot of good to their bank accounts as well.
Sure will. Dijon's at least got a little bit of something back by killing Alpha. Can't recover the weapon. Worth noting that Blixie, a full HP player, or just about, is going to need to be a headshot if Dijon wants to get anything done here. Won't be doing it. Blixie takes him out, and, well, we have 4 members surviving here for CYBERSHOKE. 1 round now separating them. Feels like they've got this on lock, and this wasn't a lack of investment. There was an AK-47 picked up on Solby, who now has to shoulder the MAC-10 again, courtesy of his investment in the last round. But we are back onto rifles for everybody else. This should be the most lethal Sparta can be on the T side. Yeah, you lost the pistol and the conversion and made it a little bit sweaty, so you decided to force up in the next, but the loss bonus has afforded you 1 more buy. See what they can do with it as they're starting to charge over towards that B short position, take those defaults, and have expertly dodged the initial utility, something that you can't say about CYBERSHOKE's T side. However, Alpha has still found the first frag. This is a man advantage for CYBERSHOKE.
Oh yeah, +1 for CYBERSHOKE, though that's going to be a test toward the B bomb side, and a test Blixie wants to pass as he gets a quick double and completely halts the T side approach. No damage yet dealt to John and Uramiata, but as I say that, Uramiata gets a deke to the face, and CYBERSHOKE tie up the scoreline finally. They've been waiting for this throughout the entirety, basically, of the first half, and now on the CT side, they're feeling really good. They're looking really good. And Blixie already on 15. I've mentioned just a few rounds ago that nobody is shining on the CYBERSHOKE side. Now you got Fenomen and Blixie on double digits. Their teammates slacking a little bit, but no reason for them to dig deep, as now it's basically everything going to their hands. All the psychological advantage and, of course, the numerical advantage Sparta had has dissipated so far.
And I love that they're keeping so many of their CT side players on this B site. If they cleanly end this, they can actually start the next round with everybody equipping an AK-47. There are enough on the ground to equip the whole damn roster. So let's see what they want to do with that. But obviously, with 15 seconds left on the clock, the last remaining Spartan is going to be saving. Or not. Glowing will take his head with the AK. Let's see how many of those upgrades come on through. It looks like Notineki will be the sad fish out of water there. And, oh, I guess the same is true for Alpha. He wanted to hold on to the A4. Something about that fire rate, perhaps. Nonetheless, we are going into round 17. 4 in a row here for CYBERSHOKE on the CT side. And this is the swing. This is the CT era that we were alluding to in that first half, that you can end up 8-4 and pretty soon 8-8 if you don't end up finding the right recipe for a couple T rounds early enough. Sparta has some investment into this round. It is going to be 4 upgraded pistols, 3 of which are Tech 9s, as well as Invisible's Galil. Going to be an interesting choice now as they switch over to the T side. I do like that they're starting to pressure towards A a little bit more, way more than CYBERSHOKE ever did already in the half. But is that changeup really going to help them out that much? Fenneman's dropped down quite low, courtesy of the Deagle, or rather the Tech 9s. It looks like it was a long-range thing. Glowing, on the other hand, is going to be staring down the barrel of many members of this T side. Wow, they actually just charged through the smoke as soon as contact is made elsewhere, and they're going to clear out every single one on this A site. It's all down to Alpha in a 1-on-3.
And it looked really good for CYBERSHOKE. The read was actually spot on. Putting 4 players on and around that site, it seemed like they had it on lock, but 1 rifle was enough. Invisible, though, he only did find 1 frag. His teammates chipping in with the pistols, and Alpha not going to get away with that op as Sparta take the lead again, and they still have some life left in them. Even though CYBERSHOKE completed that small comeback at the beginning of the second half, Sparta managed to breathe new life into themselves, and of course that will work wonders to their economy as well. Even saving a bunch of cash should they lose this round, getting a perfect buy in this one. Of course, perfect buy on all sides, or rather both sides. CYBERSHOKE being shown that even if you do things right at a tactical standpoint, you got to click heads.
You're absolutely correct about that one, I'll tell you that much. And look at that, speaking of correct, Hiram Yada, correct on the angle. That's a heads-up op duel. Remember, the op was the only thing recovered by Alpha there. A little bit of a falling shot from Glowing. Midair will take a little bit back for the CT side, but losing out on your sniper and keeping the other one at large has a bit of a different feel to it. The slow is a very, very slim chance there that Solby could have been dropped with the bomb. That would have been very scary, but he ends up slinking back to the swamp, and he's now migrating over to join up with the rest of the squad, contacting out A. A bold choice, but one that isn't without some sort of prudence to it. Trying to take some of these fights. They need to be playing a little bit more together for my liking, though. That Molotov should have been huge. Oh, but they get caught with their pants down. Not expecting, not Neki and Alpha.
Okay.
Pushed straight through many pieces of utility. It's only Solby late with the bomb. Do a thing about it. 40 seconds on the clock as he slinks away with the op, and well, maybe he can find a magical way to thread the needle. I think he's just going to end up saving.
Well, he's going to try. And CYBERSHOKE again setting the trap, and Spartans, well, they walk straight into it. Solby, with such little time, of course, he just wants to hold on to that op, but he has many angles to check, even when he's trying to save, because CYBERSHOKE in the previous rounds at least have been conditioning Sparta to think that if you try to save, they'll hunt you down. Not going to be the case in this one, as the CYBERSHOKE side really don't have the luxury of losing their guns as well, and it's going to be 9-9 as this ancient game is very contested so far.
Yeah, need a little bit more to separate these two squads. If this continues at this pace, we might end up seeing a very hotly contested final scoreline. Both teams likely to get to double digits, but I would put a little bit more mustard on the hot dog of CYBERSHOKE. I'll tell you that much. I feel like they're just a little bit further ahead at this point. Have that CT side firmly in their back pocket, have the full buy. You can say the same for Sparta, but now they're down a man. Oh, down 2. Alpha found 2 frags and managed to isolate quite a bit of presence towards that B short position. Solby might be able to frag himself out of this position. The answer is no. Glowing in hot pursuit. Not Neki finding some impact elsewhere, and that will be a wrap. A very aggressive CT round there. You weren't sure who was on the offense, but it does look like CYBERSHOKE are coming up ahead. First to reach double digits. We'll see how many of you all predicted that when it comes to the first half ending the way it did. Sparta firmly in the driver's seat, but they have lost control of the vehicle.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Winning only 1 round so far in the second half. And I have to say, I'm very unimpressed from what we've seen from both teams on the T side. Just trying to play defaults really isn't doing much, because as soon as the CT side tries something aggressive, it's seemingly like they have no answer, and now they're going to try something aggressive themselves, but Blixie awaits, and he accepts 2 heads as he takes down 2 players. Invisible taking some damage himself, but Notineki is the one that falls. Alpha with another frag, and he wants to continue. Finally gets traded back, but it's only Yakai gets free, and he's not going to do anything in this position. And he has been blazing in that first half. The second one, not so much. As even with that very good performance on the CT side, this T side is crumbling for Sparta, as CYBERSHOKE need only 2 more rounds to take the victory on their map pick.
Yeah, you know, CYBERSHOKE are making it look like their 4-round T side was actually something that Sparta could never hope to answer to, hold a candle to. They've only got 1 ever since the half switch. This T side needs some serious work. Sparta back to the drawing board with Galil's equipped on all members. And you're right that Uramiata's cooled off, but so has every single member of Sparta. Of course, confused on the bottom of the scoreboard, having a rough go of it with only 6 frags. On the other side, everybody on CYBERSHOKE is slowly catching up their kills to their deaths. Big performance from Blixie and Alpha in back-to-back rounds so far, keeping CYBERSHOKE ahead. Remember, they got to round 10 off the back of some humongous big balls plays. This time around, it was a little bit more straightforward, just kind of accepting Sparta walking into them. But they still had to click those heads. And there's Phenomen finding the opening frag. Not a head click, but a body with that AWP dropped in the middle position, heading towards Donut. The scaling having a little bit of trouble here for Sparta. They're going to go back to B.
It's not going to be easy for CYBERSHOKE. Glowing is there to relieve some of the pressure, but it's only 1 player. Oh, that really wasn't supposed to happen. Glowing taking damage from his teammate's knife. Still, Blixie under duress. He's going to be tested here, and he's going to be cleared out. It's a 4v4 as Sparta take control of the site. Damage dealt through the smoke, and Alpha felled as well. The bomb will be going down, and do CYBERSHOKE want to commit? They do have the cash, but it's still a 1-man deficit for them to try and get out of. Phenomen is sliding toward that B bomb site, but they also have a flank coming in, and they're not getting out of this alive unless they win the round, and it's not going to be easy to clear everybody out, as 1 by 1 they are going to fall. Phenomen watching the behind, but that really isn't going to help their survival, as they need to fight somewhere. Still close to the site, but the bomb will explode. Phenomen good for 1, Notineki as well, as Sparta actually get to double digits also, and it's again a 1-round game.
Yeah, and get out just before the bomb detonates, so no worries there on the surviving 2 members to bring those Galils into round 22. Listen, CYBERSHOKE, they had a little bit of an advantage positionally, and they did let it slip away. You mentioned that, you know, Glowing was having to rotate over. That if that flashbang doesn't get delayed by whatever put them off kilter with that knife, I feel like suddenly you're going to be in a much better position. Blixie won't get run over quite as easy. Alpha can actually do something from the position in back quad, shoving through that smoke to support his teammate or whatever he was planning on doing that clearly didn't end up happening. It sounds silly to talk about the team knife, but I really feel like that's knocked him off a little bit of kilter.
Yeah, knocked him off course. Now they want to be a little bit more aggressive, though. Blixie crossing the doors right as the smoke was fading. He's going to get dinked, and he's going to get cleared. His teammate's not there to help. And again, it's a +1 for Sparta.
Yeah, that was really, really well played from Invisible and from really everybody on Sparta, doing a little bit of bait out, trying to figure it out. And look at that. Invisible's found another flag to his name on Alpha.
That's
swinging out masterfully and has the fadeaway. All right, we're tied up here, man. I don't think there's going to be a 2v5 queued up, especially with Phenomen missing a few opportunities at the top of mid. We are looking good here, unless Glowing goes nuclear.
Oh, Glowing, he's going to have to find basically everybody. They have not cleared him. That could be a big problem. He's going to find both of them in cave. Still, a man advantage for Sparta and a good chance for them to take this round, but Glowing has made it at least a possibility. That possibility taken away out of his cold, dead hands as Phenomen is all the way back towards CT spawn. It will be a bomb plant, and it will be us going to all 24 rounds on Ancient.
Yeah, at least could certainly end up seeing this late half resurgence for Sparta, carrying them over to a map point and guaranteeing at minimum overtime, maximum the stealing away of CyberShoke's map pick, the money in the bin right now for the defense. Fenneman cannot go for this. I think a lot of it comes back down to the fact that after considering their options, after the team knife that knocked them off course, at least that's my fan theory, we're talking about a team, a squad of CyberShoke that they went for a 3v4 retake attempt on the B site. And that has been a disaster for the economy on the defense. The CT side barely has a penny to pinch at this point, and a big portion, a big reason why was that decision. So that might end up coming back to haunt them. That forced them into a bit of a more aggressive stance that Sparta have started to adapt to, as opposed to falling prey to the way that they did when CyberShoke scored double digits initially. On top of it, they're going to need a tactical timeout to suss out exactly what they want to buy in this round. Is it going to be a force? Is it just going to be a sort of half buy where they get some pistols, some armor, a little bit of nades? Obviously, Fenneman only survived with 450, so $2,000 on top of that isn't enough to get too much. You can drop an MP9 if they're really going to buy into it. But they got to save something for the next round, the last round of regulation. Come hell or high water, CyberShoke are going to need to play for at minimum overtime. One of the things I'm still waiting to see is whether or not we'll have any lights out performances on the CT side of CyberShoke in the way that Uramiata ended up having just a statistically jaw-dropping one. It was, what, 13-4 after one half. Maybe a little bit more than that, actually.
Oh, yeah, 13-3 if I remember correctly.
Oh, yeah, there you go, 13-3, even better. Yeah, this round is starting to foment, however, and Fenneman has found an opening frag. That is compulsory with that AWP. Everybody else just on pistols right now for CyberShoke.
Oh, well, Glowing will get his hands on an AK, though, for only a short period of time, though he is still alive on 11 HP. Solby survives as well, and that's big as well for Sparta. The fact that he's still going to be roaming around the map. CyberShoke know that they can't really try to get to the side, but with this kill, that might be a possibility, a probability. It's a 5v3, even though they are outgunned, they're not outmanned, though Glowing should die at some point. Somehow this guy is evading death left, right, and center, and now they're trying to pick up the pieces. Those pieces, though, are going to bite them on the butt as Uramiata is still alive, finally gets taken out, but it's a 1v1. This needs to be a stick defuse. Not going to be the case as Solby is finally coming to stop that last CT of claiming the round. It's Sparta on 12, Pronogo.
On 12, and Fenneman gets away with his life, but no kit. They had no investment, no money into that round, remember. Didn't feel like they could get it. If anybody did get it, it was dropped on the ground way earlier. That is so heartbreaking for CyberShoke to get all of the kills, to get Fenneman into a pole position, really bring it home, a magical round for the defenders, and yet they've got a full buy now, but it's one round too late to matter. Sparta have locked in map point. One chance for them to streak on over to the decisive round.
We'll see if they can actually get to number 13 now. When CyberShoke is on a buy, of course, Fenneman again on that AWP, and it served him well in the previous round, finding 4 kills, but unable to claim the round for his team. A little bit of damage dealt to the T's, and Glowing actually receives a heck of a lot of damage, and Fenneman, he's gonna get tested, but finding the frag and pulling back, he can still set up and actually hold the line from CT spawn. That flash won't affect him. He's still gonna be quite set up, and there's Alpha as well to support him. This could be a calamity for Sparta as they've already lost 2 players, and what do you do in this scenario? Yeah, you got control of Red Room, but there is no feasible way to get to a site.
Oh, and that flashbang, it should have been good, but Alpha is dropped by Dijon. Starting to get into that awkward position. The CTs are trying to capitalize on what they've earned so far, and that might end up costing them. Fenneman has his sidearm drawn inside CT spawn, expecting a rush directly out, and that HE plus the spam damage with Dijon combining on a kill on a Nike has suddenly turned this around. A 3-on-2 now for Sparta as they start to make their way towards the A site. Glowing, walking wounded on 40 points of health is all that remains here. And while he dodges the HE, he can't dodge the bullets, gets one and then traded. We are down to a 2 versus 1. Half health on the remaining Ts. Will Blixie send us to overtime?
He has an HE. He can take out one of them possibly, but he can't really take it out. He needs to be on his gun, trying to find the first. Gets dinked on the second. That HE was not thrown, and that could be the death of him. That will be the case as Invisible finishes this map off, and Sparta taking it 13-11 against CYBERSHOKE. They will be going to their map pick with a 1-map lead as the underdogs strike CYBERSHOKE. This is not looking good for the favorites in this elimination best of 3. One thing I gotta say, it was a very chaotic match, but one that in the end went to the side of Sparta.
Yeah, they got that opening pistol round, which again we didn't get to see on the broadcast, but it seems like every round counted for them. 8-4 scoreline turns to 13-11, and a late half resurgence in that second half allows Sparta to just barely clinch the map. That is going to be a steal for them, and wow, look at that. Our mustard man himself is going to be going on over as our map MVP. A well-earned one, but realistically speaking, pretty much everybody was there. Pretty much everybody was firing. I threw a little bit of shade at Confused, but even he had some important duties to run there. A pretty interesting performance from Uramiata, from Dijon. I look forward to seeing if they can carry forth everything onto their own map pick, because Nuke is a map that CYBERSHOKE are familiar with. Listen, they've played so many maps at this point, it's hard to pick a map that they aren't familiar with. I really am not so sure I can count on Sparta to 2-0 here, but it does look like really dangerous territory. Remember, the loser of this best of 3 is out of the tournament, Luba.
Yeah, and it's very dangerous for CYBERSHOKE. I mean, the reason that Sparta had picked Nuke is a bit of a punish, right? CYBERSHOKE, they do know how to play Nuke, and they play it a lot, but they really haven't been stacking up the victories. It is their worst map in the pool, so it kind of goes to show that CYBERSHOKE really need to dig deep if they want to remain in this competition for at least one more map. Of course, we will be going on a short break, and we'll be back with map number 2.
15-second fade. 10 seconds before start. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with Galaxy Battle Phase 5 for 2025. And we are back with our one and only best of 3 today, an elimination game between Sparta and CYBERSHOKE. Yuba and I are back on the mic for this second map. It is going to be Nuke, and we're not quite sure who's going to take it, but with Sparta leading 1-0 after a very contested steal of the first map of Ancient, they go into their own map pick. Surely that means they're the favorite, right?
Oh, well, in theory, that should be the case, but we've seen many a traded picks so far in Galaxy Battle Phase 5. Might be the case yet again, and Overpass could be upon us quite quickly. Just ignore the Navi Junior stickers there. Apparently, our production team likes that team. All right, anyway.
We love Navi.
Yeah.
Big fan.
CYBERSHOKE failed to capitalize on their map pick, and now they need to consolidate on Nuke. Let's see if they can do that. This would be their 5th consecutive best of 3 win, but they really got to deserve it, and it starts on our map number 2. 13-11 it was on map 1. CYBERSHOKE. The light at the end of the tunnel is the fact that they are starting on that favored CT side, but it seems that Sparta want to break open that A bomb site, and that's going to be very easy. It seems that only 1 kill goes to the side of CYBERSHOKE. It's Alpha taking 1 head, but with a man in hand, Sparta get the bomb down quite quickly, and then Naughty hits the deck as well. Nice few shots coming in from Alpha, but he'll be shot down also, and it's only glowing in 1v3. And he has a lot of room to take before he can even get close to the bomb.
Yeah, before he can even see, he put eyes on a T. Maybe now that a little bit of chopping and changing behind the silos is occurring, Sparta will give him at least a look. Ain't gonna be doing much. Looks can't kill when you look like glowing. See you later, buddy. That'll be the end of that. And that is another pistol round victory for Sparta, specifically a T-side pistol. They've won both the CT side pistol on Ain't and the T-side pistol now on Nuke. So the opening ones are going nicely for them. It is something that is kind of a funny thing to look at, right? If you can get that T-side pistol, boy, are you sitting pretty, because you are unlikely to get the average rifle round. Statistically, it's just CT-sided. That's arrow wearing, and of course, Nuke is no real exception, even though it can be close to 50-50. At least it was before those eco changes into gear. Sparta going to have quite of an advantage after that. Bit of a force buy up with Scout on Fenneman. Called out the Scout on Ancient from CYBERSHOKE earlier. It was definitely a surprise. Or rather, it was from Sparta. But now we're back to normal. And 5-7 and a Deagle for the CTs. They are going to get cleared out in secret. Nike's there to try to get a trade going. But remember, there's so many more Ts where that came from. That's the power of the offensive side to try to overwhelm one particular position. These are going to be gathering a little bit more information here, Lubis, so that they can get a bit more an understanding as to where everybody is. And maybe Invisible can frag with that MAC-10. Or not, he'll get a knife. How's about that? We like that. That's worth even more than the MAC-10 kill.
Yeah, absolutely. $1,500 go into his back pocket, another 600 from that Blixie kill. So he's sitting pretty. Invisible on 5.5K after this one. And Sparta 2-0 up. It's CYBERSHOKE just on the starting pistols, but they will be investing into 2 Deags and a 5.7. So they will have something to fight with. Not a lot, though. And, of course, the Sparta players, they'll be looking to increase their advantage and increase the number on their bank account. They're looking to MAC-10. Some damage dealt at the beginning, but I assume CYBERSHOKE are going to have to do a lot more.
Oh, yeah. Well, Zeus could maybe help out a little bit. But you do have to wide into it, and double MAC-10 is perfect for clearing these close-range angles against players without armor. Should be a nice and easy 3-0 start. The Zeus goes haywire, and that will be a wrap. Remember, it did get rechargeable back in CS2's Incarnations, so that was funny. But, we'll be seeing that 3-0 start flawless on the T side so far. And now we'll get a buy. Now we'll get Fenneman's op outside. Love to see it. He obviously was instrumental in making Ancient as close as it was. Can throw some shade at some of the riflers, and particularly, I think the team play with like between Glowing and Alpha was really lacking on that CT side towards the end there. Certainly on the T side, they weren't able to get as many rounds as they wanted. Chip on their shoulder as they come in to a 0-3 deficit on Nuke. Try to change their fortunes now. Still a little bit of a bonus with the...
Oh,
Look at that! AKs cracking off shots, and now, well, there's no way you can get multi-frags from Blixie's mission. Falling down to his death is not Neki, courtesy of Solby's bullets. A little bit of a trade there as Fenneman's going to be chuckering away and trying to save that op. 67 points of health on him as the bomb goes down. We have 40 seconds until a Sparta is locked in.
Oh, yeah. They're feeling really good on Nuke. This is their pick as they take this first full buy round quite cleanly. Losing 2 players, yes, but it was very quick for them to get close enough to the site, and CYBERSHOKE looked a bit discombobulated trying to defend that A-bomb site. It's Sparta leaving CYBERSHOKE on nothing except that AWP for the next round. They will, of course, have something to buy into, some money to invest, simply due to the fact that they're already on max loss bonus, but what does that give you? How happy are you with that if you're CYBERSHOKE on this sort of start when you're fighting against elimination?
Yeah, fighting elimination, we are in dire straits. You are not expecting a 4-0 lead, a 4-0 start on anybody's T side of Nuke. It does share a little bit of a different story, shed some light on this idea that CYBERSHOKE have not been able to gel well. Tactical timeout so they can figure things out. Worth pointing out, they are in a bit of a boot camp situation. It's not even like they can't just look over at their fellow homies and say, hey, what's going on? What's the deal? You get that little camaraderie that you don't get when you're playing from different apartment buildings or what have you, which does seem to be the case for Sparta by comparison. Much more of a mix, it feels like. Yet, when it comes to their performance in this series so far, they have impressed us. They've looked like they've got some good individuals, obviously Dijon, Uramita. And so far, I know it's early days, but maybe Confused can build back better from where he was in that first map. The only player to really have an ouchie of a score line. And when it came to, Invisible, who was trying to multi-frag on the CT side, when it came to Solby, who was always after active flanks, I'm expecting to see similar sorts of stories told. As we get into round number 5, we are charging directly into this upper side, and Dijon's been blinded, but Confused, still able to get a frag port from his teammate. That feels criminal. Should have been something that the CTs could have met with a little bit of aggression of their own, and now Glowing is the last man standing after a catastrophic secret trophy push. No worries there whatsoever. Uramyata finishes us off, and we have a 5-0 start. 4-0 was not enough.
Did the first map take too long for them? Because all of these rounds were very, very quick. Like, in the first 30 seconds, you have an idea of what's going on. And sadly for CYBERSHOKE, the idea is the Spartans are outnumbering their opponents. Of course, money looking perfect for Sparta. The scoreline looking really good. I mean, 5-0 at the beginning of a map is really not something to write home about. That can turn on its head quite quickly, but CYBERSHOKE did not even show signs of life so far, and they're going to have to do a lot better to show us exactly that. Sparta maybe slowing it down just a little bit, though. Invisible just throws caution to the wind, and he's going to die. Be the first casualty of this round. Sparta want to get to ramp. Defended by one player, so it might be easy pickings unless Notineki can make a play. And there you go. That might be a start of something. He finds one. Holds them off for long enough for Fenneman to rotate, but missed shot with that op still gives Sparta an opportunity even with one man down.
One man down indeed. Still an opportunity here, though. Called out very succinctly there, but Alpha is going to try to change our minds about facing him with an op in hand. Uramyata goes down, and Solby finally gets a little bit of a trade. Now locked into a 1v4 that he's found the first in. Alpha's so very low. towards Squeaky would be a salivating target for him, but with Fenneman holding for a retreat path on the op, he's actually kind of misread the situation. CYBERSHOKE think maybe he slinked off towards ramp. So Fenneman is being very, very conservative. If Blixie gets dropped here, Solby has a chance. Faces him once, a little bit of a delayed swing. This confirms it. Now we can start to see Fenneman really tighten the noose and go ahead and get him a clean shot available to him. The bomb's still going to go down, and another play going down. That is an unforced set of errors. I can't believe that. They didn't calm over the bomb going down there. They end up losing a third player to boot. The money's going to be strapped. At least CYBERSHOKE avoid a total calamity. They will secure a round, but that could have been a lot cleaner.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Solby getting a triple there and still keeping CYBERSHOKE at arm's length, keeping them with not that good of a buy for next round as well. Sparta, yeah, they made a few mistakes here, a few hiccups that led to them losing a round, but they've got 5 in a row, 5 on the trot, and they're looking to do more, extend this lead here and now. If they get this round victory, that will be catastrophic for CYBERSHOKE, as their money is not really looking good, and they're no longer on max loss bonus. That's also something that we need to point out. Solid one, but oh, right, that is not to be expected. I think Fenneman actually caught him with the op, and that's what led to John 8's death. Invisible dies as well, and it seems that CYBERSHOKE are picking up the pieces, and they're finally doing what they're supposed to on the CT side, finally adapting to what Sparta have shown so far.
Yeah, let's see if this 3v5 has any fruit at all, because losing any player at this point is still going to be a bit of a knock-on effect a few rounds from now. Economically, they are nowhere near out of the woods and still down by 4 rounds, 3 if this one is converted. Maybe a little bit of a sound cue heard is confused, singes his pants, his ankles. Heating up a little bit. So, reinforcements are called in to support Fenneman. A bit of an off-angle, deep angle, but we will be the first one with the bomb to be facing, and that is actually a whiffed shot. Fenneman cut down so very low in terms of HP, he's going to have an opportunity to face again. There's a 1 kill from Solby before he's traded. Same could be said for Neki, however, on the other side. Dropping down, Solby will be dropped, and the pistol comes out to finish Uramiata's foe. He's got to recover the bomb. 1 versus 4, turned 1v3. Once again, a very dire situation. He upgrades to the 8K for this situation. Better than the op, but is he gonna be expecting Alpha from the back? The answer is no. The Wolfpack strikes again. And CYBERSHOKE will that second round, but we gotta be honest here. Losing so many players in every sort of situation. Sparta are making this very messy for them. For my money, they've already won enough T rounds for their CT side on their own map pick to be convincing and put CYBERSHOKE away for the rest of this tournament. So this is still very, very dangerous. If CYBERSHOKE don't come all the way back and get 7 rounds, I'm already starting to, pack the coffin with their remains and ship them off so that they can be buried. At this point, I don't have a lot of faith in them.
Well, let's take this step by step and see if CYBERSHOKE can dig themselves out of this unfortunate situation. Losing map number 1, of course, was 1 nail in the coffin. And they still have a long ways to go to be eliminated, and I assume that they're going to show something before that happens. Glowing takes care of Invisible. That's a +1 for CYBERSHOKE again. And it's what won them these rounds so far. The fact that they can find the first kill, slow pace down, not let Sparta explode to a site. That's what CYBERSHOKE have been doing in the previous 2 rounds as well. This time it works out quite well at the beginning. Let's see now, can Sparta adapt?
The adaptations need to be sublime. Sparta have been doing very well in the opening portion of this half. Invisible dropping down already does prove to be a little bit of a problem. This is their last perfect buy. If they drop this one here. There's still some room to claw back this 4v5. Especially with all of them getting into secret without really any issue, without really any confirmation. CYBERSHOKE can have their conspiracy theories, but will they have any facts? That's what Alpha's here to do. Slink into the vent. He's actually made a little bit of a mistake that could have cost him his life. He's lucky that it didn't, but then confused charges forward, throwing caution to the wind, traded by the op if needed, but not necessary, as he lives a little bit. Now he's taking a big swing. That's with the bomb. That would have been a little bit ambitious. Molotov trying to run Notniki down. Solby, I can't believe that, but he gets away with murder. Oh, still 92 points of health. This 2v3 for the CyberShoke side. Not going to be too good for them, except for the fact that the time is on their side. And that will be the third round after all. Sparta running down the clock a little bit too much.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Didn't really look good for Sparta. They did make their way to the side, but it seems like they forgot as well for a moment what was going on, and the bomb could not have been planted. As CyberShoke take round number 3 for themselves. And this good start from Sparta might have been halted already. Do you want to do something a bit quicker? It's what worked in the first 5 rounds. CyberShoke maybe found a way to shut that down. And it's again a very slow-paced round, it seems. As Sparta are looking for something, but finally they find the opening pick without losing too much HP on not any of their players. So with the defense spread thin a little bit, Sparta has a little bit more room to maneuver in.
We've got ourselves a 5 versus 4 one time. It's Sparta with the man advantage, and I'm really look they can get back on the board and chain these rounds together just a little bit deeper. 3 unanswered in a row for CyberShoke. It looks like the answer has arrived. Not Nick and Alpha trying to bring things back into the picture. Fedabin on the repeat can only get away with 1, but now it's a 1 invisible. Has a lot to work with here. He knows exactly where the 2 survivors are. He needs to be able to recover a weapon, recover the bomb for that matter. Where has it gone? Oh, gone to his back. Invisible, what can you do? We've got 2 CTs angrily pushing up towards heaven, but that's not where Invisible is going. He's put on his cloak and slunk down to the lower site, which is not currently in any way occupied. The incendiary gives it away. Alpha, not Neki, doubling up. Their team play needs to be on point as Invisible's op is soaked in, but it doesn't matter. What a peek from Alpha, able to make it happen. Still an expensive round, but that'll be a defuse coming on through as an AK is being searched for and has been found. Not Neki will have that. The op on back Alpha. We're looking all right here for CyberShoke, stabilizing so far in the first half of Nuke.
Yeah, looking a lot better now, and they're not really caring about the expenses. Whether or not they lose 2 or 3 players, that is not that important to them as much as the fact that they are piling on the rounds. 4 on the trot, and that gives them a lot more confidence for the remainder of this half. You said it already, Sparta can be happy with 5 rounds at the half, but losing 7 in a row, that's never a good feeling, even on a map like Nuke. Let's see what Sparta have got. Do they want to do something differently here? Invisible losing 40 of his health points, and he's going to get taken out courtesy of that smoke gap outside. The rest of his team going towards ramp, only 1 player defending. I mean, Fenomen should be quite quick on the rotate, should not Neki die, but he has no business of dying, though only 1 frag found. Alpha, look at that, Trigger discipline is there, he can knock them down, but only finding 1, still a chance here for Sparta, though. Look at that, Blixie, though.
Oh, I think Blixie's just extinguished that chance. They were never expecting not 1 but 2 CT push through trophy, but a trophy CyberShoke have at the end of this round, looking like they're going to be grabbing it by bars and lifting it up. At least in terms of tying it up. Still a bit of a Pyrrhic victory for a Nuke scoreline. Solby wants to avert disaster. So many times we've seen Sparta have 1 man standing against so many from the side of CyberShoke, and yet sometimes magic can happen. You get so many opportunities like this. Maybe Solby will be the man. Bit of a hard situation, though. Hard sell. Glowing. Able to open those doors at any point he wants. The smoke might provide a little bit of cover. It's a little bit of a bait. He's going to throw down. Oh, and the HE is there, but Glowing. He dodges enough bullets and is able to take Solby out. That was maybe the best chance that they had for getting a bomb plant down at least. Without it, their money is a bit in the bin.
Yeah, finally. CyberShoke find a way to break Sparta's economy. They only needed to take 5 rounds in a row to do that. And Sparta, they're going to have a Galil, they're going to have a few pistols, an SMG. That's not a good looking buy by any means. That max loss bonus, of course, allows them to invest into something so they can still pose a threat. But this is not looking like the same Sparta we've seen in the first 5 rounds of Nuke. Maybe this could breathe new life into them as they're already thinking about knocking A side's door, but so much utility already expended by CYBERSHOKE means Sparta need to sit tight. Blixie, he'll check that angle any day of the week, as Confuse is going to die.
Pretty straightforward, actually, not even confusing at all, despite the name. This is, of course, a little bit of a force buy from the side of Sparta. They kept some cash in reserve, however. Not working out for them thus far. Have in the coffers in terms of the utility belts. CYBERSHOKE don't have a lot there, but plenty of cash to rearm themselves later, especially if they keep all 5 alive. Which looks like it certainly could be likely. Tech-9s popping the windows, giving it up. This is indeed a bit of a force, and look at that. Blixie able to stand tall. That Galil's been picked up for Solby. He's going to try to swing with it, and Will blowing out through the smoke. Blixie's up through the vent. They know where he is, but how can they extirpate him? Especially when there's a crossfire being set up here. Alpha is going to be hard to clear behind the silo, and Fenomen holding from up high in heaven. Brings down Judgment, and Blixie, he was even being cheeky. Finding the lineup, triangulating. A couple of headies through the wall, and then finishes it off. That is a 6th round, and so many in a row. 6 unanswered for CYBERSHOKE after Sparta's 5-round lead on the T side.
This does tend to happen on Nuke, right? We do see these sorts of situations, and especially when the T side gets the pistol round, you basically just need 1 gun round and a conversion to go your way, and you're already 5-0 up. But as soon as the CT side gets enough utility to use, as soon as they got the premium guns, a complete shift of momentum awaits. And Sparta just looking to tie things up at the half. Fenomen losing just a little bit of his HP in the end. And he wants to repeat. John, he's not safe. Not safe at all, though. Blixie's going to die. Now they break open that A bomb site. Damage dealt to Alpha as well. So at least Sparta find a foothold to A. A chance for them to actually convert this round and tie things up at the half. Fenomen down to 7 HP. The CYBERSHOKE players trying to get back into the side, but so many smokes thrown to main. They really have no way of getting there. And it's also a smoke on heaven. How do they have so much utility to use? That's my question. Glowing dead as well. And 1 by 1, they want to get to the side. 1 by 1, they all die. It's 6. It's tied up at the half.
Yep, everybody except for Fenomen managed to get onto the site just as a corpse as opposed to a live player. And that is our 6th round for Sparta. Finally break the streak. And they're going to go into our CT side of Nuke as probably significant favorites if their defensive side is better than their offensive one. But first, we get at least one more giveaway. If Sparta closes us out here, it's over for CYBERSHOKE. We see the Spartans move on one more series at least, but maybe somebody's going to get luckier than this underdog squad has been.
I just want that night wish to land to somebody. Not going to be the case in this giveaway, I assume. As we're going to give away a skin, and that will be your favorite skin, Chrono.
No, jeez. Oh.
Congrats to Bruno King X.
Yeah, commiserations. You got animated.
All right. Let's head back to the action as we are ready to continue this Nuke adventure. Sparta managing to finally cut that series of rounds that CYBERSHOKE took. They got 6 on the trot. Finally, Sparta with an answer, and that gives us a tied-up scoreline at the half of Nuke. Let's see what Sparta can do on the CT side of their map pick. In theory, it should go well for them, but CT side on Tier 2 Counter-Strike are never as strong as they seem in theory, Prono, though.
Yeah, it's a little bit tricky, and especially on the pistol round. Sparta chained theirs into 5 in a row, which is really what made them feel so superlative. And no matter how hard CYBERSHOKE fought back on the CT side, it felt like it was a wasted opportunity. A tie half on Nuke is really not something you're looking for when you start defense. Yeah, they're going to have a lot of bull pushing up a hill here on the T side. Let's see if they can get past the Sisyphean task. Uramiata holding strong, ready to crush their fingers if they dare to peek him, but he actually ends up falling back a little bit. Looks like he's going to call in for some reinforcements. First blood has been drawn as not hits the deck. That's bomb sighted and brought down very low, but Uramiata's already been cleared up from dark. At least Confused maintains an advantage, and Blixie's making a lot of noise, so they already turned to face him. That might have been a little bit discombobulated. Glowing needs to pop off, and even with the flashbang, Invisible's able to take him out, and these two survivors takes a moment to click. Actually, this is over. Sparta has won 3 out of 4 pistol rounds so far, and both of the ones on Nuke.
And that really gives you a nudge. That gives you a push towards victory and survival in a competition. Just getting the pistol rounds can really do a number. Though, they did concede the bomb plant, which means that we could expect the CYBERSHOKE force buy in the next. So Sparta, they're still not safe. That's why they're buying into 5 M4s. Barely any utility on them. They want to fight. And why the hell not? You know what's coming. You know that Galil's will be on the other side. You want it to be an equally good matchup for you. In this case, better. Though they will not continue with 5 M4s. They'll have a FAMAS on Invisible so they can at least have some utility at their disposal. Let's see what they got, though. As still, CYBERSHOKE can run them down.
Yeah, at least this is one of those second rounds where you know the CT's won. It actually makes it obvious from just the equipment that they have. Of course, looking on the other side, CYBERSHOKE with the bomb plan affords them 3 Galil, Tech 10, a Tech 9. They only have 1 Molotov to their name. It's going to have to be contact and overwhelming with numbers. But remember, the rifles have been picked up in a big way, so that's actually significant. And that is Glowing finding the first frag. Oh, and Confused just getting trade out immediately. Uramiata's going to need to go nuclear, but he's been absolutely flanked, and the bomb can go down easily. This is rifles recovered. This is a big problem for Sparta. Solby and Dijon, they're going to have to do immaculate work here, and that was an excellent first headshot.
Not yet. Bomb has not yet been planted. Solby, though, dead. It's only John A. Let's see what he can do, and there you go. A quick clutch to still get the conversion as Sparta hit round number 8. For a moment there, it seemed dire. For a moment there, it seemed very difficult. A 2v3 retake, but the bomb was never planted in the end. They were quick enough on the rotate. And sometimes you just gotta click heads. Sometimes that's what makes you better at Counter-Strike. This was the case for Sparta.
Yeah, and I love that we see a couple of MP9s and other FAMAS come out. They don't need to be breaking the bank to try to break out those A1Ss because they've broken the economy of CYBERSHOKE already. Just a deco round here. Some Kevlar has been purchased on Glowing and not Neki, but they have 0 utility. If win this round, it's off the back of some absolutely absurd shots. And you know what? I wouldn't put it past them, but CYBERSHOKE are unfortunately going to have to hope and pray as Invisible is found in the opening pick. A lot of damage been dealt to him and Dijon, so we are in a situation where it could maybe feast with those deagles. You could see Alpha trying to find Soldier on top of HUD. Oh, but he's been flanked. At least he's been found. He keeps his head. Just a couple bullets in the shoulder. Not a big deal, but not looking too hot here for the T-side deco round. We will end up seeing a 9th unless there's something absolutely calamitous.
Not to be expected, as Naughty is the only one that actually has Kevlar. So still, even if they kill a player and actually get their gun, it's still under the question of what they can do when the aim punch is in effect. And Naughty is the one that dies next. Though some damage has been dealt to the CTs, you would say that there's a chance, but as each T-side player falls, you know that that chance is slimmer by the second, and it's only Alpha remaining. Maybe just wanting to do some economic damage, nothing else in his power. It's a 1v5, and it doesn't really matter how low they are. There is very little he can do, especially with his position known for a while now. They knew that he was roaming around lobby. Just a question of if he gets the final kill. It will be Solby, and it's number 9 for Sparta.
It is. Knocking on the door of double digits here for the defense. The guys are the underdogs. CYBERSHOKE are supposed to be the favorites, but after clinching Ancient, Sparta have started to define this matchup a little more fully for us. 5 rounds, and then, of course, the final round of the first half to give them 6. A very contested score. I do think CyberShoke still have a bit of a puncher's chance here to at least chain together a few T rounds, starting here, where it's a bit of a bonus for the defenders, but Sparta lock this one down, you can pretty much wrap that one up. And that is not a situation you want to be in for CyberShoke. At least they're approaching next loss.
Oh, and Blixie gets taken out quite early, losing a lot of HP to the M4s, and then that HE just blows him away, though still gun advantages on the side of CyberShoke. Let's try and look at the positives. The positives are they got a lot of map control as well for themselves with these very confusing smokes. I don't know if every smoke landed where they wanted it to, but it opens up the map a lot. If you're a CT, you don't know if a T player can actually be hiding, residing in one of those smokes and looking for a flank. So you want to stay put. You don't want to go for info plays because that could cost you your head. Little do they know that all of the CyberShoke players are heading towards B via secret and only one player defending, invisible with the FAMAS. And that's not a gun for multi-kills. He's going to try and find something, but only finding the bullets in his body. Took down to 47 points of health. Now they know, and now they rotate. Will they rotate in time? CyberShoke with a bit more than 30 seconds on the clock. They could still change their minds, but that won't be the case. They're knocking on B's door. Two players defending, and they want to take them all out. That will be the case. A very clean take of the site. Losing a player, still a 3v3 with 20 seconds on the clock. What the hell happened here? Confused. Somehow actually evaded them for a bit, and that led to a T-side player dying with 10 seconds on the clock. You could still give Uramiata a chance should he stop the bomb plant. That almost was the case, but CyberShoke, by the skin of their teeth, get to number 7.
Yeah, I think it was Femin who killed Boeing, by the way. It wasn't even a CT kill. Total confusion living up to his name by that drive-by MP9, the human decoy, human flashbang, trying to get their attention off of the rifler. A sound enough plan, but I think there was still utility played, and for sure they did not wait for Uramiata's flank. Tried to pounce on an opportunity that they saw. They made the call. Now they've got to pick up the pieces. They do have three A1Ss and, of course, the AWP. Confused on the FAMAS. A little bit harder to drive by with that one. Opera already down to half HP. Spam down by some AKs. It is 4 AKs and a Galil on the T side. So it does feel like CyberShoke are still equip themselves with the necessary goodies. Uramiata, though, finding the opening pick. So wrap that up and send it to somebody for Christmas because Sparta is happy about that one.
A man up for Sparta. Uramiata is quite heavily tagged, but does that even matter when you're shouldering that big rain? A lot of ground gain by CyberShoke, still keeping players in lobby, waiting for an overzealous CT push. 2 players going towards secret, and this might actually be confusing to Sparta because they don't know where the attack is coming. They have very little information of where the CyberShoke players are, and even when they find a single pick, that doesn't really tell them a lot. What's the plan for CyberShoke? Do you want to split A, maybe try to go towards vents? Do you want to go back to B, but you got 2 players that are going to take their sweet time rotating with 35 seconds on the clock? They have a lot of decisions they need to make quite quickly, and somebody is going to have to make some magic happen.
Magic had better come quickly indeed. 20 seconds left on the clock, and there's a bit of a spray down. Opening frags are good. Are they going to be so deep? Remember, on B, he's got to have to flank all the way around. Confused those. He's heard the digits being punched in. Wow, this round has been salvaged somehow by CyberShoke. It took them a while to suss everything out. With the bomb secured, sites secured are now looking for exit strategy. This is an 8th round for CyberShoke.
Yeah. Sparta, no realistic chance of getting to this retake. They're still contemplating it with Confused dead. That sort of seals the deal onto this round. They're just waiting for exit frags, maybe deal some economic damage to CyberShoke, but the latter, it seems, still has some life left in him. As CyberShoke get, again, to a 1-round game on Nuke. For a moment there, it seemed like Sparta's running away with their map pick and running away with this best of 3. They're going to have to wait a little bit longer to do that. What's the buy gonna look like for
That in-game going on
Sparta
here.
here.
Sparta ran down the clock, and it actually cost them a round on the T side, if you remember. CYBERSHOKE showed them how it's done. That tactics coming into play there. And look at this buy, or perhaps lack thereof, of course, the saved weapons and a 5-7. Very, very drip-fed, minimal utility. Gonna try to hold these close-range angles. Solby trying to make it sound like he went down the vent. Now holding for a bit of a sight line in case he can see a player moving through the smoke. Nothing to be had, though. This is going to be a sight take yet again. Can they hold?
No. I'll tell you that. USP's no chance, though Invisible actually finds a frag and confuse one as well. For a moment there, it looked like Sparta actually have something to say in this round, but Uramiata, the only thing he wants to say is, guys, I'm going to go away. I'm going to save this AWP, and it's going to be round number 9 for CYBERSHOKE.
Yeah, all tied up. And that was the expected outcome. As soon as they lose the AK there, it's actually the pistols that end up giving a little bit of value. You can tell CYBERSHOKE are a little bit concerned. Uramiata's supposed to get an exit here and there. It could be not Neki, the first victim, maybe only victim. But the round is over in terms of who's going to win it. That much is for certain. You see that line? Uramiata might be able to just barely take a peek. Doesn't look like it's going to come to fruition, though. Yeah, not fully safe. So that will wrap things up. Our affair on Nuke continues now that we're all tied up. Sparta should have enough cash to splash out some sort of bot in the next, especially with that saved sniper. I think they need to maybe take a tactical time, maybe take a breather, figure out what their game plan is revolving around Uramiata. Where is the sniper going to go? Because it hasn't had the impact that we saw it have on ancient CT side. That's where, you know, Nuke way back when used to be called the Opper's Graveyard, but since then people have figured out where to go. So that's not really what the concern is. How are you going to set him up? How are you going to help fend him? And where are the weaknesses? Feel that upper sight, CYBERSHOKE might want to isolate.
Oh. CYBERSHOKE still have a long ways to go to get this best of 3 victory. Sparta 4 rounds only needed, but that has been the case for quite a while now as their lead dissipated. Not saying that it was a big lead, but they did start the CT side off with a very solid beginning, getting the pistol round and those very indecisive conversions. Now they're just hoping to get one. Make it easier on themselves to actually have a proper buy with a full set of utility, some diffuse kits as well. They have one diffuse kit here. They didn't start this round with all of the utility necessary, and Solby with the FAMAS. That's also one of those situations where they need to make some compromises in their buy. Some damage dealt to Glowing. He's still alive and kicking. And there's your answer. Uramiata posted up in secret, which is actually a good play given the fact that CYBERSHOKE did go through secret for many, many times, and Uramiata draws first blood as Glowing is the first to die.
Little gutting it was Glowing who ends up going down there. He was obviously the low HP player, but they didn't even bother trying to trade him out, so certainly weren't expecting an op there, or maybe not even expecting a proper player there. Venomman fragging back with the T-Sniper. That's going to clear out the upper site for business. It's Solby with the FAMAS here, and he is going to be run down. He does end up getting one frag. Oh, and he actually gets the way down. That's a problem for Sparta. That was their high HP player on the site. Oh, creeping up is going to have to be Uramiata. He's really going to combat op out of the vent. It's confused in heaven. And it's the very low HP Solby trying to be ratty with the angle. The up fight towards that second vent ends up going the way of Venomman. That's big. Might just have locked in the round. Well, if not, it's confused getting traded very early. That does. One FAMAS in no time. He might not even get out and save his paltry weapon. Instead, he's going to look for exits. And indeed, he'll find him, taking Neki out of the picture. And the bomb may still reach him all the way in spawn. Let's find out together, chat. Oh, he actually stays alive. Wonderful. Fine. Well, not a great look here for Sparta. 4 rounds together after the initial 3, after the pistol round. Sparta won both pistols. This is supposed to be, of course, it's their map pick. This is supposed to be their domain comparatively, and yet they looked a hell of a lot more confident on Ancient's CT side to get them necessary rounds to eventually clinch it on the T half. Well, they're going to need to dig deep once again. It is CYBERSHOKE to get to double digits first.
Well, Sparta, this is not looking pretty. They're by coming out of a yard sale as
Yeah, good grief.
they are going to have
Look
that
at
one M4, one FAMAS. The AWP on Uramiata is actually their saving grace, and they're hoping to do something with that. But I'm even curious about the question of what do you buy in the next round as well. Their buy is not going to look pretty if they lose this one. So let's first see if that's going to happen as Solby can put that M4 to good use. His teammates chipping in, lending a helping hand, and 3 kills coming quickly for Sparta as Fenomen and Alpha are the only ones alive for CYBERSHOKE. It is going to be a tied-up scoreline, it seems, Bronoga.
Yeah, and this is momentum. Remember, those weapons are going to be if Dijon and Confuse want to trade up a little bit. An AK's already been picked up by Invisible. Alpha and Fen likely thinking of exit strategies here. This round should end up being an excruciating sort of minute-long save. You're not going to be going for a 2v5 when you've got 0 map control, 0 presence outside. Uramiata will be faced, and Fenomen will fall. Alpha with the bomb is going to be able to at least trade. One less AK picked up as they end up grabbing that up over, but the bomb might still be able to go down. The rotations are kind of slow. Oh, I see. Confused what made the noise, but there's a player shifting ahead. A little bit of a mind game as to who's going to cut first. Oh, the low HP rifler. That doesn't seem right, but T-Shot's still going to be able to scarp around with the AK. And Solby will trade his A1S out for the end. Everything is right as rain. Sparta, 4 alive and 10 rounds. Everything tied up.
Sparta want to end this here and now. They want to do it on Nuke. Send CYBERSHOKE packing from Galaxy Battle. Finally breathing some life into themselves. Another tactical timeout for CYBERSHOKE, and Sparta has not taken one timeout so far throughout this best of 3. It's only CYBERSHOKE that actually wanted to talk things out. Sparta's like, no, we don't need that. We're just gonna consolidate on our own terms and find a way to get the victory.
Yeah, it's worth pointing out that there is a genuine cause for concern for this pause for CYBERSHOKE. They need to figure out what they're going to buy. Glowing had not even 2K. It was a really, really poor distribution of funds here for the T side. So they are going to be buying some rifles, some pistols. Little bit of a sort of like odd force buy down to the last dollar situation here. A MAC-10 gets traded up as well, it looks like. And Fenomen will keep a little bit in reserve as is customary for oppers, so this buy doesn't end up looking as bad as it initially seemed as they get all the utility that they're going to need to execute properly onto the upper side if that's where they still want to go. Maybe a little bit of pace coming, but not Neki thinks twice, and nobody else on CYBERSHOKE was pushing towards Mini, so we should be in a better position now. However, there is still not that much outside presence. We have Glowing trying to do something about that, but he's just got a Tech 9. It's just not that scary compared to having a good, proper rifle. Especially with Dijon having the map MV on Ancient and 15 frags to his name here. Certainly no slouch of it when we're talking about Nuke, when we're talking about his performance. He's their outside player. He's actually diving back inside trying to hold. They've kind of written off all of the utility expenditure outside as a fake, and I don't see why you concern yourself too much with it, to be honest. It has been a very inner-strip situation here. Zeka's coming in with Glowing actually executing Dijon after all. Oh, Solvy's burned upstairs. The ball. Multi-fragging galore. 3 frags to his aim, and Confuse is able to perhaps finish the job. It's only Alpha trying to get this bomb planted. It's a bit of a fake. He's trying to find where that opper is. Uramiata has proven to be a little bit slippery and confused with so low HP. He's actually got a little bit of a read on the timing, but this could be the rifle duel that seals the deal.
Yeah, that could be the case. Alpha, he's not going to expect it. No chance. And a full house coming in from Confused and Invisible. Invisible being the hero of this round, undoubtedly. He lost his teammates defending the site, but he held his ground alone, taking 3 people with him. At the end of the
Yeah.
day, when it was only Alpha, he could just try, but try was not enough. And good play for Confuse as well. Such little HP and having the guts to actually reposition, go all the way around towards Trophy Room, put yourself in a good angle. That was very smart. And it gives Sparta not only a lead, it completely destroys CyberShoke's economy. They're on pistols, and Sparta knocking on number 12. Match points are to be had. It's just a question of when and where. It's here and now, it seems, as one by one, the T-side players fall. And John, he wants to end it. He wants to finish it quite quickly. A very quick and decisive anti-eco round coming from Sparta, and they're going to have 2 opportunities to knock CyberShoke out of this competition.
Yeah, series point, elimination point here. Sparta will advance if they win one of the next 2 rounds. CyberShoke now fighting for overtime, and that's what they were saying. That was the admission they gave when they went for that pistol buy in that last round. Over before you had any opportunity. Burning their last time out. Last of the competition, unless they can avert disaster and extend play in extended rounds. Doesn't seem so likely. The money's still looking a little bit dire. Glowing has afforded a full utility belt and a Galil with his Kevlar and helmet. Everybody else starting to come into the picture here as the tactical pause winds down. This may very well be the last round that we see CyberShoke in. Op out for Uramiata still. Not as explosive of a performance as on Ancient, it must be said, but the Rifler's doing a lot of the heavy lifting this time around. Confused having a much better game, much more impact. And like you said, the gusto to make it happen on low HP. It looks like Uramiata has had to take a bit of a potty break, and he will be back in action, I'm sure, recharged. You know, that's why he was being weighed down. Now he's getting back into it. See what we can do. But what it comes down to at this point is whether CyberShoke can, in fact, overwhelm the defense. They were doing pretty well after the initial 3 rounds of the second half, but something started to fall apart, and I think a large portion of it is Sparta reappropriating a lot of their resources, allocating them towards the inner site, realizing CyberShoke were either going secret or they were going through the inner pathways. They weren't going in through mini. That just wasn't where they were doing. They weren't even infiltrating towards CT spawn. They were being very one note about where they were going and the angles that they took. And so they could start to disrespect that outside utility. If CyberShoke have figured that out with this little pause, maybe they can punch back.
Well, they're going to have to. And it's not looking great. 2 Galils in the mix. 3 AKs. Some utility to use, yeah. But they're going to have to find that opener, something that has been troubling them in some rounds. In the first half as well as in the second. HE grenade. Just going to miss Glowing, not going to deal a heck of a lot of damage. That smoke was not broken, though Confused. No problem of finding the first frag. Uramiata want to end it as Alpha hits the deck as well. It's Naughty on half HP, and the flank from Invisible might actually seal the deal. Naughty still kicking, but him and Blixie can't even combine for 100 HP, not even close, and they don't have the bomb. It's guarded by the CTs. They can't get to it one by one. They all die. It's Blixie in a 1v4, and a very unlikely 1v4 here for him. CyberShoke, they were on a 4 best-of-3 win streak, but it ends here. Their journey in Galaxy Battle Phase 5 ends here with the whimper. 13-11 on map number 1, 13-10 on map number 2. Sparta continue in this Swiss stage.
Hats off to them. I wasn't expecting it. Maybe I should say helmets off to them. Spartans live another day to fight another war, and we are going to be seeing CyberShoke off. A dissatisfying run in Galaxy Battle Phase 3, or Phase 5, rather, it must be said. The problem that we're seeing with them a lot of the times is just that team play. They weren't able to figure out that they had been read. They didn't have as deep a strategic playbook as I thought they would have. And I think that's reflected in the way and the complexion in which these sort of late round resurgences, late half resurgences have dismantled them. And at the same time, you got to say, hey, Sparta, you guys have some more grit than I thought you would. You guys are actually able to dig deep when it matters most. And so they will survive at least one more best of 3 within this competition. Will they make the unlikely run all the way into playoffs? I don't think that's necessarily in the cards for them, but I won't discount them entirely. I will say a well-played series for them, and unfortunately, we're going to say goodbye to CyberShoke, a team that made it very deep in some of the other Galaxy Battle events, and as you mentioned, was on a 4-series win streak. It's not like they were being total bums elsewhere, but in this competition, they have not been the best at their toppest shape.
Yeah, it didn't really work out for CyberShoke here in Galaxy Battle Phase 5. It's a team that we expected to go quite far in this competition, given their performances throughout this year, but sometimes you do it well, sometimes you don't, it seems, and CyberShoke didn't really step up to the task this time around. Maybe next year we'll see them in Galaxy Battle with a bit of a better performance. Of course, this was day 20 of Galaxy Battle. We will be back already tomorrow, so a lot more Counter-Strike action is to be had. You can follow Galaxy Battle on social media to, of course, be informed of what's going on. This is it for today. We'll see you next time.